When I was a kid, I was always told it was desirable to be different, to be unique. However, the same society that once encouraged me to be different now is punishing me. Good afternoon, I'm Isabella, and today I'm going to tell you the hiding cost of following the crowd. So let's start, because the society that once punished me is not only punishing me now, it's also encouraged me to follow the herd mentality. The herd mentality is in fact this tendency to follow the same ideas, beliefs of the group. We have having any critical thinking. This is really dangerous and have this study for decades in psychology. For example, with the Ashcomfort experiment, you can see both lines are the same line. However, most of the people in this experiment just get the wrong answer because the actors were doing some social pressure to answer in the same way in the wrong way. You know what is the most sadly things about this? That this goes beyond the paper. This goes beyond this experiment and happens in real life, everywhere, in every situation. I will tell you a little bit of my story because sadly we live in a society where being average is safest than being your true self. So when I was in ninth grade, I entered to a new high school. I had always loved fashion, and I wanted to experiment more with my image and start to find my style. And in this way, I started to dress in a way that most of my college of the high school didn't dress. Especially in a public high school where it's not typical to see a girl in a blazer and heels. Obviously, I received a lot of criticism, but also I started to be confident with myself, and slowly I started to get used to some critics. This allowed me to start to stand out in other areas of my life, for example, in the academic field. In the academic field, I literally pay a high price, and the high price is called the tall poppy syndrome. It's a syndrome marked with the exclusion because you have some different abilities that the rest of the group, and not the abilities also to stand out more than the group. And I happily paid the price because this allowed me to have a lot of achievements in my life. For example, getting a Fulbright scholarship and other personal things. So the most important thing that I learned in high school is that it's okay to not fit in. And the pay you pay for the sex is not fitting in. And that is exactly the point. What is exactly the point? Because when you don't fit in, you are less encouraged to follow this herd mentality. Well, maybe I didn't convince you to start thinking differently, stop following the cube, and take control of your life. But maybe science will. Because in Daniel Campbell, we found an anatomical correlation between the orbital frontal cortex with the society comfort. Why is this important? Because when this area was larger, you come from less socially, so you take better decisions and you have more emotion regulation. And you know what is the most beautiful thing? That neuroplasticity is this. So you can train your brain to stop, try to follow the crew. Obviously, it's really difficult. I experienced that it's really difficult, but you can do it. And it's the most beautiful thing that will allow you to take control of your life. Obviously, I'm not saying that social interaction is not important. It's really important. We are social beings. However, this shouldn't come to the price of who you are and what do you want to be and what do you want to make. So always please remember this Alan Osley beat quote that says, "The man who follows the crowd will usually get no further than the crowd. The man who walks alone is likely to find himself in place no man have ever been." Thank you so much. And I hope that you realize the importance of being your true self.